today we are in Marseille and we're having a look around and seeing, well, what's what? Never been here before. It's an absolutely beautiful city. We're going to go see
Bonne Mer.
Maybe go up to the Panier. But for now, we're just walking around Vieux Port. Le Vieux Port, or the Old Port in English, is just a transport hub, really. It's where we based our day. It's a fantastic little tourist area, but it wasn't too busy most of the day. We took a little bit of a trip around, got our bearings, and then took the 55 bus for 25 minutes up to Notre-Dame de la Garde, which was our first church of the day. Notre-Dame de la Garde, or as it's known to the locals, La Bonne Mer, is probably the most famous landmark within Marseille. It is a basilica sat on top a rocky outcrop, which was built probably in the mid-19th century, but there has been a chapel of some sort here since about the 13th century. It is a really imposing and impressive basilica. Now, unfortunately, we didn't want to film inside, so we took a couple of pictures because there were people there praying and we didn't want to interfere with what they were doing. One very interesting thing, though, about the basilica is during the Battle of Marseille in World War II, it was hit by some shrapnel, and the scars of those shrapnel marks are still left on the basilica to this day. Now, I would recommend anyone start their day at the basilica before it gets too hot, more than anything, because there is quite a hill to climb to get there. Back to the port now, where we're walking up the other side towards Le Panier, and we found by the town hall these brilliant statues of a bull and a lion on stilts, which I don't think I've seen anywhere else in the world. Just to the north of Vieux Port is the Hotel de Ville, so the town hall, with these lovely steps going past it, and the steps sort of work their way towards Le Panier, which is the oldest part of Marseille. So they are very narrow streets, nice sort of 3-4 story tall buildings with old art shops and soap shops and lots of graffiti all over the walls, but not just tags, but actually nice murals and pictures. It is a really lovely place to explore. I would do it in the daytime like we did, because the colours are really pop, especially as the streets get narrower. And I'm not sure my camera's doing any justice to this at all, but Le Panier is maybe 5 minutes walk from the port, and it is definitely worth a visit if you're in the area. From here we headed south towards the Museum of Traditional Mediterranean Culture. The views of the city from here were astounding, and given it's free to enter if you don't want to see the exhibits, I would very much recommend taking in the views. So we've just been to the Museum of European and Mediterranean Culture, and they stole my camera off me. They wouldn't let me film inside, which is fine. It's €11 if you want to go see any of the exhibits. So we did pay, but we didn't go see any of the exhibits because it's good fun though. So the tag they gave us when they took the camera away said that you're not allowed scooters or skateboards within the museum itself, and we thought that was rather funny because obviously my little camera is not a very good skateboard. I tried and it just broke. So it's time now to head back to the old port, back to the metro station, after admiring some of the older buildings and some of the thousands of boats that are moored here. There really are many. We hopped on the metro for about 10 minutes, found ourselves at Palais Longchamp, which is a monument built in the late 1800s. There's a lovely park behind it also, and a couple of museums here which we also decided not to go into. The scale of this building is just something else. You can just about see people to the right hand side of that middle monument here. That gives you a sense of scale. It's looking a little bit run down, but I think that's because they're renovating it at the moment for the Paris Olympics, which is later this year. It just needs a bit of a mow on the lawn. Otherwise, it's definitely worth a visit. It was one of our highlights of our trip to Marseille. The heat was really starting to set in now. It reached about 25 degrees when we were there, which is, I think, fairly good for middle of April. But we ended up taking the metro and then a 40-minute walk to Palais Pharo, which was built by Napoleon III for Empress Eugenie in the late 1800s again, and was used as a cholera and tuberculosis hospital within 30 years of it being built, which is, you feel a little bit chagrined. But the main reason we came here was for the views. So the views over the old port on the right, and then the Museum of Mediterranean Culture, and then you can see our last stop just leaving the frame on the right there. We'll save that for a minute. So this is our last visit of the day. This is Cathedrale la Major, which I'm probably doing a horrible job of wrecking. It is a lot newer than the first cathedral we saw. It's close to the museum by the docks, but it is enormous. The scale just doesn't really come across on camera. It is really, really impressive, and a very good way to end a 10.5-hour trip around Marseille. With that, our day in Marseille was complete. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. It really, really helps out small channels like mine. But would I visit Marseille again? I absolutely would. Some of the reviews and the research we did online before we came said that it was a dangerous city, very high crime, don't go. I would just say do. Go in the middle of April like we did. The weather was lovely. The people were really, really nice. The public transport is very easy to understand. I would very highly recommend coming to Marseille for a day.